Hello coin collectors and history lovers, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have an absolutely fascinating story about one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln pennies in the world. This is the story of the 1974 mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance but hides a secret so rare and so valuable that collectors around the world would give almost anything to have one in their collection. At the time of recording this video, the 1974 Lincoln penny is valued at a staggering $65,928. Yes, that is not a typo or an exaggeration. This humble 1-cent coin is worth more than many people's first car, more than many engagement rings, and in some cases more than a down payment on a house. And the reason why this coin is so valuable is a story filled with mint-era mystery, misprints, and above all rarity. Today we are going to dig deep into this coin's history, examine the reasons behind its rarity, explore how to identify a genuine example, share real market sales, discuss expert grading, and give you all the information you need if you are a serious collector or just someone who loves great coin stories. So if you are ready, let's get started. Our journey begins in the year 1974. The Lincoln penny had been in production since 1909, first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent was the very first regularly circulating American coin to feature a president. Over the decades, this humble little penny became one of the most collected coins in the United States, with a design so iconic that it remained largely unchanged for more than 60 years. In 1974, the United States Mint was producing pennies in large quantities to meet the demands of everyday commerce. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints were all active, and each facility struck millions and millions of coins. The San Francisco Mint, known for its high-quality proof coins, used a special mint mark to identify coins produced there. Most people think of the San Francisco Mint as a facility that produced proof coins for collectors, but in 1974 that facility also struck a small number of regular business strike coins, including pennies. And this is where our story gets interesting. According to the United States Mint records, the official mintage of 1974 Lincoln pennies was extremely low. In fact, the San Francisco facility was transitioning between proof production and other services, and only a few pennies were struck for testing and experimental purposes. At the time, the Mint did not plan to release these coins for circulation, and they were not assigned a formal mintage number the way most coins are. That means the total number of 1974 pennies that exist today is unknown, but universally accepted among numismatic experts to be extraordinarily low, in the single digits, or low double digits. That is why the 1974 Lincoln penny is considered one of the holy grails of American coin collecting. Imagine for a moment a coin so rare that most professional collectors may go decades without ever seeing one in person. Imagine a penny that sits quietly in the bottom of someone's drawer for 50 years, completely unaware that it is worth more than most modern gold coins. That is the allure of the 1974 Lincoln penny. Now let's take a deeper look at what makes this coin so special. First, the mint mark. The small letter S just below the date tells us that this coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. But these coins are not your typical San Francisco proofs. They are business strikes, meaning intended for circulation. The surfaces show the same wear patterns and handling characteristics that you would expect from coins used in everyday transactions. But the tiny number of surviving examples makes them extremely desirable. Next, the date itself. 1974 is not a year that most collectors think of as rare. Millions of pennies were struck at both Philadelphia and Denver with the 1974 date. But the 1974 is fundamentally different because it was not part of the regular coinage. It was essentially a production oddity, a mint anomaly that escaped into circulation. In rare coin collecting, these kinds of anomalies are among the most sought after because they represent a unique moment in history and perhaps even a mistake at the mint. So how did this coin come into existence in the first place? Historians and mint insiders believe that during a transition period at the San Francisco facility, a small number of business strike dies were inadvertently used to strike pennies. These coins were never supposed to be released, and most were likely melted down or destroyed. But a few escaped, going unnoticed at the time but treasured decades later. Rarity alone, however, does not always guarantee value. There are rare coins that are seldom worth much because collectors have little interest in them. But the 1974 Lincoln penny is different because it crosses the line between rarity, historical intrigue, and wide collector interest. Collectors of Lincoln cents are among the most passionate in the hobby. They specialize in every variation, every mint mark, and every error. And when word got out that 1974 cents existed, the numismatic community went into a frenzy. Suddenly everyone wanted to know where they were, how many there were, and how to authenticate them. Authentication is crucial because there are counterfeiters and clever individuals who have tried to create fake 1974 pennies by altering more common 1974 D or P examples. The easiest way to fake one is to take a common coin and punch or carve an S mint mark into it. But experts warn that these altered coins are easy to detect if you know what you are looking for. A genuine 1974 penny has certain telltale characteristics. The placement of the mint mark, the depth of the strike, the style of the lettering, and even the surface finish are all detailed clues that can help distinguish a real S from a fake. For serious collectors, it is always recommended to have any potential 1974 authenticated by a professional grading service such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation or the Professional Coin Grading Service. These services examine coins under high magnification, checking for authenticity and condition, and then encapsulate them in a protective holder with a grade that reflects their quality. This grading is extremely important when it comes to value because condition can make a dramatic difference. Over the years, 1974 pennies that have been certified by major grading companies and graded at high quality levels such as MS65 or MS66 have been known to fetch very high prices at auction. Even examples in circulated condition graded at lower levels can command substantial sums because there are so few known to exist. Now let's talk about real market value. As we mentioned earlier, the current market value for a top-quality 1974 Lincoln penny is estimated at $65,928. That value is based on recent auction results, private sales, and expert pricing guides that track rare coin sales. And while coin values can fluctuate based on demand and market conditions, the 1974 has held its value exceptionally well due to its rarity and collector interest. Some collectors have held on to their coins for decades, watching them appreciate in value. Others have taken advantage of strong market conditions to sell at peak prices. And there are stories of 1974 pennies selling for huge amounts in private treaty sales where the exact price is not publicly disclosed but rumored to be even higher than documented auction results. Let's look at an example. A few years ago, a 1974 penny graded MS65 sold at public auction for more than $60,000, making national news in the coin world. Collectors were stunned at the price, realizing that a 1-cent coin could command more than many gold coins valued by weight. The sales sparked even more interest in the variety, encouraging collectors to hunt through old coin rolls, collections, estate finds, anywhere they could look for an undiscovered example. Now I want to take a moment to talk about the emotional side of coin collecting. For many people, coin collecting is not just about value. It is about history, connections to the past, and the thrill of discovery. Imagine a coin that was struck during the time of the Vietnam War, the year after President Nixon resigned the presidency, the same year the Rubik's Cube was invented. That 70s nostalgia, that connection to history, is part of what makes the 1974 penny so meaningful to collectors. Some people have found these coins in change given to them at a bank. Today I want you to slow down for a moment and really think about this question. What if a simple penny, a coin you may have spent without a second thought, was actually worth more than $60,000? Not a gold coin, not an ancient artifact, but a regular-looking Lincoln penny from 1981 with no mint mark. This video may completely change how you look at your pocket change forever. Because the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those quiet sleepers in the coin world that has shocked collectors, surprised families, and turned ordinary people into lucky owners of a very valuable coin. Most people believe that pennies made in modern times are worthless. They assume that only coins from the 1800s or early 1900s can be valuable. But history has proven this belief wrong again and again. The 1981 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how minting details, metal composition, condition, and rare errors can transform a 1-cent coin into a collectible worth tens of thousands of dollars. Today we will uncover the full story behind this coin, its history, why it matters, how to identify it, and why one example has reached a current market value of $60,954. Let us begin with the historical background of the Lincoln penny itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic image. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny quickly became one of the most recognized coins in American history. By 1981, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for over 70 years, and millions of Americans used it every single day without realizing the hidden stories some of these coins carried. The year 1981 sits at a very interesting point in U.S. coinage history. It was a transitional era. Inflation was rising, production costs were becoming a serious concern for the U.S. Mint, and discussions were already underway about changing the metal composition of the penny. At that time, pennies were still primarily made of copper, containing about 95% copper and only a small amount of zinc. Just 1 year later in 1982, the Mint would officially change the penny to a mostly zinc composition with a thin copper coating. This makes 1981 one of the last full years of traditional copper Lincoln cents, which already adds historical importance. Now let us talk about the no mint mark detail, because this is where many people get confused. A no mint mark Lincoln penny from 1981 means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia pennies did not carry a mint mark. Coins from Denver had a D mint mark, and San Francisco coins were usually proof strikes with an S mint mark. While millions of 1981 no mint mark pennies were produced, only a very small number survived in exceptionally high condition or with special characteristics that make them extremely valuable today. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A penny that has been circulating for decades, scratched, worn, and discolored, may only be worth 1 cent or slightly more. But a penny that is preserved in mint state condition, with full original luster, sharp details, no wear, and strong strike quality, becomes a completely different story. The highest value 1981 no mint mark Lincoln pennies are those graded at the very top of the scale by professional grading services. Professional coin grading uses a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a perfect coin. The most valuable 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny examples are graded in the MS-67, MS-68, or even higher range. At these levels, even the smallest imperfection can drastically affect the value. Coins that reach these grades are incredibly rare because most pennies were used in circulation and not saved in pristine condition. Another major factor that drives the value of the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny is strike quality. Some pennies were struck with exceptional sharpness, showing crisp details in Lincoln's hair, the lettering, and the date. Others were weakly struck, which lowers their appeal to collectors. Coins with strong strikes and original red copper color are especially desirable. Color designation also plays a critical role in value. Lincoln pennies are classified as red, red-brown, or brown. Red pennies retain most of their original copper brilliance, while brown pennies have toned over time. The highest prices are paid for full red examples, especially when combined with high grades. The $60,954 valuation comes from a top-graded, full red 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny that meets all of these strict standards. Let us now discuss rare mint errors and varieties, because this is where things get truly exciting. Some 1981 no mint mark pennies exist with striking errors that significantly boost their value. These include off-center strikes, double die obverse errors, die cracks, and planchet defects. A double die error occurs when the coin design is impressed more than once at slightly different angles, causing visible doubling in the lettering or date. When such errors are confirmed and graded, collectors are willing to pay massive premiums. One known high-value example of the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny features exceptional die characteristics combined with a near-perfect strike and preservation. These factors together create a perfect storm of rarity and demand. When such a coin appears at auction, bidding can become intense, driving the price far beyond what most people would expect from a penny. Now let us talk about the current market value. While most 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are worth between 1 and 5 cents, top-tier examples are a completely different category. A professionally graded, full red, ultra-high-grade 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has reached a current market value of $60,954. This value reflects collector demand, historical importance, condition rarity, and the fact that there are very few comparable examples available. It is important to understand that coin values are not just about age. They are about survival. Millions of pennies were made in 1981, but only a handful survived in the condition required to command such a high price. This is why collectors are constantly searching rolls of pennies, estate collections, and old jars of coins. The next valuable example could be sitting unnoticed in someone's home right now. So, how can you identify a potentially valuable 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? First, check the date and make sure it reads 1981. Then look below the date for a mint mark. If there is no letter, it was struck in Philadelphia. Next, examine the color. A bright, original red penny is far more valuable than a dark or brown one. Use a magnifying glass to check for sharp details and any signs of doubling or unusual features. Finally, consider professional grading if the coin appears flawless. Never clean a coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and can reduce the value dramatically. Even gentle cleaning can leave microscopic scratches that grading services will detect immediately. If you believe you have a high-quality example, store it safely in a protective holder and consult a reputable coin dealer or grading service. The story of the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny teaches us an important lesson. Value is not always obvious. Sometimes the most extraordinary treasures hide in plain sight. A coin that looks ordinary can carry an extraordinary story, and that story is what collectors are willing to pay for. Imagine finding a penny in an old collection, having it graded, and discovering it is worth over $60,000. That moment has happened before, and it can happen again. This is why coin collecting continues to grow in popularity, attracting both seasoned collectors and beginners alike. As we come toward the end of this video, remember this. Every coin has a story, but only a few have the perfect combination of history, condition, rarity, and demand to reach life-changing values. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those rare cases where modern history meets extraordinary worth. So the next time you see a penny, do not ignore it. Look at it carefully. That small piece of copper could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next video could reveal another coin hiding massive value right under your nose. Friends, have you ever checked the pennies lying in your drawer, piggy bank, or old wallet? Today's video might completely change the way you look at a simple 1-cent coin. Because in this video, we are talking about the 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that many people still spend for face value, but certain rare examples have sold for an astonishing $62,902. Yes, 1 penny, less than the price of a matchstick, turning into life-changing money. So make sure you watch this video till the very end, because I will explain the full history, design details, rare errors, grading secrets, and the exact reasons why this coin is worth so much money today. Let us start from the beginning. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, this coin became the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1997, the Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for almost 90 years, yet it was still one of the most widely used coins in everyday life. That is exactly why rare versions from modern years like 1997 can be so surprising and valuable. Now let us focus on the year 1997. The United States Mint produced Lincoln pennies at multiple mint facilities that year. Coins with a D mint mark were struck in Denver, and coins with an S mint mark were produced in San Francisco, mostly as proof coins. But today, our main focus is the 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Any Lincoln cent without a mint mark below the date was made in Philadelphia. In 1997, the Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of pennies. Because of such high production numbers, most people assume these coins have no value beyond 1 cent. But coin collecting is not just about mintage numbers. Value comes from condition, rarity within a condition, minting errors, and collector demand. This is where the 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny becomes extremely interesting. Let us talk about the metal composition. By 1997, Lincoln pennies were made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating of 2.5%. These are commonly known as copper-plated zinc cents. While older copper pennies are often more desirable, zinc pennies can still reach very high prices when they are in exceptional condition or have rare errors. Now let us move to the design. On the obverse side, you will see Abraham Lincoln facing right. The inscriptions include "In God We Trust" at the top, Liberty on the left side, and the date 1997 on the right. Below the date, there is no mint mark, confirming it was minted in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, you will see the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 to 2008. The inscriptions include United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and 1 cent. At first glance, this coin looks completely ordinary. But collectors know that the smallest details can turn an ordinary penny into a rare treasure. Now let us talk about condition and grading, which is one of the biggest reasons this coin can be worth up to $62,902. Coin grading is done on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Most pennies you find in circulation are graded between 50 and 65 at best. However, a 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny graded MS-69 or close to perfect by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC becomes extremely rare. Why is that? Because modern pennies are mass-produced, and tiny imperfections such as scratches, weak strikes, or dull surfaces are very common. Finding a 1997 penny with flawless surfaces, full original mint luster, sharp details, and perfect strike is incredibly difficult. That is why collectors are willing to pay huge money for the finest known examples. One particular 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny graded at the very top level shocked the coin collecting world when it sold for an incredible $62,902. This price was not paid because the coin was old, but because it was nearly perfect, making it one of the best examples ever discovered. Now let us discuss errors, because errors are another major reason why this coin can be worth a fortune. Error coins are mistakes that happen during the minting process, and collectors absolutely love them. One of the most valuable errors to look for on a 1997 Lincoln penny is a doubled die error. This happens when the coin die receives a doubled impression, causing letters or numbers to appear doubled. Look closely at the words "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date 1997. If you see strong doubling that is clearly separated and not just damage, you could be holding a very valuable coin. Another important error is off-center strikes. If the coin was not properly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing. Depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is and whether the date is visible, these coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Broad strike errors are also possible, where the coin is struck without the collar that gives it its shape. This results in a wider coin with distorted edges. Broad-struck 1997 pennies in high condition can sell for impressive amounts. Clipped planchet errors are another thing to watch for. These occur when a piece of the metal strip is missing before the coin is struck, resulting in a curved or straight clip on the coin. Genuine clips have specific characteristics, and when verified, they add strong value. Another rare and exciting error is a wrong planchet strike. This happens when a penny is struck on a planchet intended for another coin. While extremely rare for 1997, if such an error exists and is authenticated, it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now let us talk about how to identify if your 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is valuable. First, check the condition. If the coin looks shiny, red in color, and has no visible scratches, stains, or wear, that is a good sign. Next, examine the details under magnification. Look for doubling, unusual shapes, missing letters, or strange textures. Third, weigh the coin. A standard 1997 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. A noticeable difference in weight could indicate an error. Fourth, listen to the sound when gently dropped on a hard surface. Zinc pennies sound dull compared to copper ones, but unusual sounds can sometimes indicate something interesting. If you believe you have a special coin, the next step is professional grading. Sending your coin to PCGS or NGC can authenticate it, assign a grade, and dramatically increase its value if it receives a high score. Now let us talk about the market value in more detail. Most circulated 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies are worth 1 cent to maybe a few cents. Uncirculated examples can sell for a few dollars. But once you move into high mint state grades like MS67, MS68, and above, prices rise sharply. At the very top level, where only a handful of coins exist, the value can reach tens of thousands of dollars, with the record price being around $62,902. This is why modern coin collecting is so exciting. You do not always need a coin from the 1800s to become rich. Sometimes, a coin from your own lifetime can be worth more than a luxury car. Let us also talk about why collectors are so obsessed with Lincoln pennies. Lincoln cents are widely collected because they are affordable, historically important, and full of varieties and errors. Many collectors aim to build complete sets by date and mint mark, and high-grade modern coins are often the hardest to find. Another important factor is population reports. Grading companies keep records of how many coins exist at each grade. When a coin has a very low population at the highest grade, competition among collectors drives prices higher and higher. So what should you do right now? After this video, go and check every 1997 penny you can find. Check your pockets, jars, old collections, and even coins passed down from family members. Look closely, because the next $62,902 penny could be sitting in your house right now. Before I end this video, remember one important thing. Never clean your coins. Cleaning can destroy value instantly. Always keep coins in a safe holder and handle them by the edges only. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1997 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we regularly share videos about rare coins that could change your life. Comment below if you have ever found an interesting penny, and let us know which coin you want us to cover next. Until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises.